All right, so it is on the story.
Are we the 3 people in chat right now?
Oh, I'm not in. Oh, I got pulled up. So we got one person, right?
All right, Chicago Hockey Radio post-game. Chicago Blackhawks lose. Story of the night. NHL Frozen Frenzy Day. Have you guys been watching a lot of the games? I've been watching all the games. I've been a sucker for it.
Yeah, I was watching about the Red Wings Islanders game. Not really sure why. That was a 1-0 absolute barn burner. But my boy Patrick Kane scored, so I'm happy. That's all I needed to see. But yeah, I've been watching some other
Both
games
those
too.
teams suck. It's boring. Sorry, Justin.
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
Those Islanders games, I feel like I've watched a couple now this year, and yeah, like it's what you're getting every time, and it's a boring game of hockey.
I don't know how those fans like are able to do that for 82 games, man. Like I would probably, there's no way I could do it. Like as much as I love hockey, I'm not sure how I could put myself through that. It's just so boring to watch. I mean, I have a hard enough time watching two Islanders games when we play them twice a year. It was the Blackhawks. It's rough. It's rough hockey to watch. But you know what? I mean, I say this before, like they make it work, but it's like it doesn't really work well because in the playoffs they always get their ass handed to them if they even
Yeah.
make it. So yeah,
No,
it's mid hockey.
it is mid hockey, and it doesn't really work that well. And I feel like the LA Kings got so much shtick last year for being a boring team. We heard the 1-3-1 thing a million times. But I feel like the Islanders are sneakily the worst team to watch in the league by a mile. It's like
Oh yeah, for
any
sure.
game I watch with them, it's like, dude, like it's it's like watching paint dry. It's like you
I'd
got
rather watch
one or
soccer.
two exciting players, and then they've got all these old their team is basically entirely filled with third line players, and somehow they're above like 500 every year. But it's like this is such a boring and I know Patrick Waugh came in and people got hyped up about that, and it's like fun to watch him pull the goalie 10 minutes left in the game, but like that team fucking sucks to watch. I don't care about, pulling your goalie when you're down 4-1 because you don't score on offense. Like,
All right, this isn't Islanders talk.
Yeah, yeah.
This isn't Islanders
I don't
talk.
think
Come
anybody
on.
really want to talk about this game tonight. That's how bad this game was. I mean,
Up for that
watching
one.
this Blackhawks game tonight was worse than
God.
9/11. This was just an awful, awful game.
It was
Just a terrible performance. I mean, yeah, you could put some blame on the refs, and they were asked tonight. I mean, there's probably two goals you could argue could have been called back. The third one looked to me like it was offsides. I guess they had an explanation afterward that maybe it wasn't, or maybe he had possession. Sure would, but I still think it was offsides. And then the fourth one, there were 7 players on the ice. I'm not sure what the refs. I think they got to get some eyesight there and check their phones because they definitely missed a few calls tonight. But that was a really bad joke. But yeah, it was just a brutal game from them, but also just a brutal game from us. I mean, after every loss this season, I'd be able to take away some positives. Boys, I can't take away any positives tonight. I mean, we did show some fight back at least, but in the first. But then the second period was good. But then the third period, what the hell happened? We're down 2 goals, and it's like we laid a stinker. It seems to be the theme this year. We start off slow in the first period, we get going in the second, and then the third period we can't take our foot off the gas. I feel like that's been the theme like every game, and it's just frustrating to watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that game was frustrating, but for me, it wasn't like it didn't feel like we got massively outplayed. Shots were relatively even. I feel like zone time was pretty even. We just couldn't score. You can't
Yeah.
go a period and a half against that team and not score. And that's what killed us. We had a ton of chances in the second period. We had a lot of looks on the power play, but they just couldn't execute when they needed to. They got that third goal that made it 6-3 with a few minutes left. That was too late. They didn't execute when we needed them to, and it costed them the game.
Yeah, that third goal was pretty much useless. I mean, at least the power play did something, right? Where it wasn't 0% tonight. We left with something, but it didn't really change. We had five minutes left. You're not going to come back, 3 goals. It came way too late. And this power play had many chances tonight to, get this game closer and failed, which is tough to see because this power play's been cooking this season, but not tonight. I mean, yeah, it was Snake, and I think they had chances. Betsy had 6 shots on goal. This guy has 1 goal in 7 games. This guy has been so snaking. He might be the unluckiest player in the league, man. He could have had so much assists tonight too. Maroon had a post. I think Bertuzzi had a post. Oh, he had a goal later, to be fair. But it feels like he was setting guys up on a tee tonight and they couldn't finish. It was frustrating. I don't think he had a bad game, Betsy. I thought he actually had a pretty strong game. No points, but I don't think you could put this loss on him. I know he was a -3 or whatever, -2. But I don't think it was goal for his fault. I think it was worse the defense being bad, which I will say, the Plastic Jones player normally is great. Tonight was just absolutely awful. Like the defense was swimming on ice. They were like fish out there. It was like I think Richardson's got to give them a map because they couldn't find their positioning out there tonight. And Mrazek wasn't very good either. Yeah, he was left out to dry a few times, but not his best performance. Yeah,
he made a couple of big stops. In regards to Bedard, I don't think he was forcing it, but it just wasn't his night, and you could see the frustration, and I love that.
He's slamming a stick on the bench.
I love to see him frustrated, and even not even just that, like you saw him like looking up a lot, and he was clearly getting pissed off because he couldn't find the back of the net, and that's what I want from my superstar. Like when I want a guy that expects to score on every shot he takes, and I feel like that is the case with Bedard. And again, we've talked about it numerous times on here. I think he's more of a playmaker, but I think he wants to score more. So I think that's kind of where the frustration is coming, that he just hasn't found the goals yet. But he's doing all the right things. He's getting in the right places. I just like sometimes he forces it a little too much, and you just want him to simplify it a little bit and not, strive too hard to get it in the back of the net and just play your game. But not a horrible performance by him by any means. It was just not his night.
Yeah, and I'm not worried about it too. Like, I do think the goals will come. Like, I think, the shot percentage has got to be below 5% right now. What he has, like 1 goal and 25 shots or something this season. That's just a guess on top of my head. That's not going to continue. It's not sustainable. Like, the goals will come. I'm still confident he's going to score 30 plus this year and have 50, 60 assists. So it's not a concern for me. It's not like he doesn't look good out there. He's not going to be this unlucky for them at time, right? So it doesn't concern me, I guess, for the long term. I know some people might be concerned, but I'm not. And he's getting assists and he's playing well. So yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about that, Tassos?
Well,
just like
about what exactly?
About just Bedard not scoring much yet.
Yeah, I saw a stat today online. One post was like he's scored 2 goals in his last 20 games combined over like this season and last season. I don't necessarily love that stat spread across, and you consider the points per game. And yeah, I saw Justin commented on the post when I had gotten to it. But it the Hawks have no finishers. Like they have no finishers. They have no nobody that can like play with this guy on a really high IQ level. Sorry, fellas, it's been a long night. But they don't have a lot of guys, and I left my notes on the other side of the room. But yeah, they don't have a lot of guys that can finish with Connor, and to see the frustration, it is fun. It does make you start to wonder what the timeline is. And, we've talked about bigger questions like that, and we can talk about that on the podcast. But, things like what is the timeline for winning and what do we expect for things like that? And, you just see him get frustrated and you hope it's just like in the game and you don't want it to like persist because it is like game 7 and, it's not really, game 7 of the year and it's not right. But it would be cool if the Hawks were a 35-win team, and he could be the guy that brings you 100 points to doing that. And, everybody, I think the hot take about Bedard too is also, sorry, I'm rambling now. You asked me my thoughts, but, everybody's leaning more like the hot take is like Bedard's a distributor, and I just think that that's not true. Like that guy's going to shoot a lot of pucks into the net, like a lot of the time. And, yeah, I don't know. You just give the kid a break. He's 19 years old. He doesn't turn 20 until next July. So, and he's already played a year in the National Hockey League. So,
yeah,
what are we doing?
I will say,
I agree. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Justin.
Oh, sorry. To your point, well, there is one guy I know who can keep up with Bedard and has shown good chemistry with him and plays the game very much the same way, has the same vision and has good chemistry with him last year. And we decided to sit him on the bench tonight. So yeah, I agree. There's not much players on this team. Yeah. Maybe Turbo is one of them, but Richardson, the decision to scratch Kurashev, I said it yesterday, it was a terrible decision. And I think today, is that the sole reason why we lost? No, but I think having a guy like that in the lamp tonight would have made a big difference. I don't think that really did set the right message. I don't think scratching one of the most talented players when there's been plenty of guys in this team like Bertuzzi. I know he had the goal tonight, but otherwise hasn't done shit. Plenty of other guys like Agent 007, Ilya Mikheyev has 0 goals, 0 assists in 7 games. My point is there are plenty of guys in this team you could put the blame on, and we decided to scratch Philip Kurashev. It's like, what are we doing here? It made no sense. Why not get that guy up in the third line, or not? It's not the third line, the first line with Betsy. I was gonna say third line because why is Nick Foligno still playing first line minutes on this team? I don't understand it. I love Nick Foligno. He's a good captain, good leader, but he's 36 years old. We made all these free agent additions, and we still have him playing on the first line. Like, get him a third line of Dickinson. This is 2024. Nick Foligno's a third line player. Put Taylor Hall up there. Hall's looked great lately. He had a goal tonight, 700 point, by the way. So shout out to Taylor Hall. Good game for him. Get him up there. Get some speed up there with Bedsy and Turbo. Why not?
I don't know if I'd want Hall on that first line just because Hall's looked good. He's looked good the past couple games, but I don't think his game's very complimentary to the other two, to Teravainen and Bedard. I feel like I don't want to call him a puck hog, but it's like when he gets the puck with speed in the neutral zone, you know very much that he's gonna like try to take it all the way himself. And then if the shot's not there, sometimes he'll look to dump it off. But I feel like all of his chances come from like not playmaking. It's just him being aggressive on the forecheck, getting the puck in the neutral zone, carrying it in, and then trying to use his speed to beat a guy and rip a shot. So I agree with you on the Foligno thing. Look, keep Foligno on the power play. Keep him if you want to, have him play most of the game on that line. But I don't understand why, I don't even know the stats, how long they were on the ice, but I would say that's too long and non-sustainable for a 36-year-old Nick Foligno.
21 minutes.
Yeah. So you can't do that for 82. And so at the very least, get guys up there every other shift, put different guys on that line. Reichel bounced around a little bit tonight. He's had a good couple of games. Throw him up there. I don't care.
Why was Reichel still in the fourth line? And why was he moved back to center? I'm glad he at least from the second power play. But after the game he had Saturday, I thought he deserved a promotion. I think he should be up there in the top 6. Let's see what this guy's got.
And this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the year, that we need to be critical of Luke Richardson this year, because look, the Kurashev scratch does not make sense. He's trying to do too much. He's trying to send a message. So what? He had one bad game. It's not like he looked atrocious out there. He didn't do much. He's looked pretty good throughout this season. You're trying to do too much. It's not like he's had like 5 games of just like, what is this guy doing? This is not the player from last year. He looks horrible. He's looked strong on that second line. He's looked like the only guy for a while that was creating anything on that second line. So the scratch doesn't make sense. And I don't know. I'm just pissed off about a bunch of shit tonight. I thought Seth Jones had a horrible game.
Yeah, he was atrocious. I've been very positive about Seth Jones for once this season. I think he's looked better, but not tonight. This was just a terrible game by his standards. Needs to be better than that. Vlasic, I love Vlasic too, but this was not a good game for him either. I got to say. But he did make a nice play in the second goal, or the first goal, I think, that kind of set up Donato's chance. That was about it. But otherwise, it was kind of a rough game for him. But
yeah,
Seth even more so.
I see somebody in chat saying Seth needs to stop shooting on the power play. Yeah, but for me, it wasn't even that. It was like there were like 3 plays where he just had like bad passes. It was on the power play. They were in their zone. He was carrying it out, and he was going to do a drop pass to Bedard, and he just completely missed him. There was another one, I think, on the power play too.
Did not like that.
Bedard had it against the boards. There were 2 guys on him. He passed it back to Jones. He needs to cycle that puck. What he does is he puts it back into Bedard with 2 defenders on him, and he obviously immediately coughs up the puck. It's like he just looked lazy and completely disengaged tonight, and that's not what you want from your assistant captain, number 1 defender, and most expensive player on your team.
Although he did get assists, so he's still a per-game player. Still left with something. But yeah, it didn't really mean anything. It was a last-minute power play goal. We talked about that. But no, I couldn't agree with you more. He's got to be better quarterback in the power play, which I thought before this game he was doing a good job of, but not tonight at all. I think it's just too predictable, right? They're always, like you said, they always know like where the puck's going to Bedsy, and they're able to cover him off pretty easily. So that's another thing. If we can actually get that worked out, like Bedsy's going to get more looks, right? But that's just, it's too
and
easy
on one of those, I think it was maybe on the, I don't know if it was on the 5-on-3, one of the last power plays. I don't know if I missed it. I don't know who started but Vlasic came on the ice to quarterback. Like he was with all the first line guys. I don't know if Jones went and made a change that I just didn't see, but maybe Richardson was like mixed that up at the end. But yeah, I don't think either of those guys have very strong games. And the
whole defense was terrible. I don't think there's a single good. I can't think of a single defenseman on this team had a good game today. I really can't. No. Yeah,
I agree. And yeah, they kind of screwed Mrazek. 30-something shots against, and good high quality opportunities. And yeah, I think that was the story of the game is they created better high quality opportunities and converted them, and we didn't.
Yeah, they're 2
Well,
for 3 in the power play too, so they took advantage of those chances as well. Whereas we were
Yeah.
pretty much 1 for 5, really 0 for 4. I don't even know if I count that last one as 5 on 3. Then the game, who cares? But yeah,
I will say, Mrazek, when it was 4-2, the Canucks only had 11 shots on goal by the time they had put in their fourth one. So it's
Yeah,
not like they had. It's not
There
like
was
they
there
were they
was
weren't peppering the Hawks up until that point.
there was the offsides.
yeah,
One
third
of
one should
two
never
of those
happen. Yeah.
four was that bullshit offsides. Like that was over because you didn't have good enough quality camera to like be able to indicatively say you can't change the ruling on the ice.
If it was Connor Bedard scored, you don't get called back because he had 3 of those goals called back last season. But I guess when it's not Bedard, it's like, oh yeah, they're not really looking at it as strongly. But yeah, I can't wait for the justification for that because it generally makes no sense to me how that third goal stood.
He also had a couple of unreal saves. There was a cross ice pass that I have no clue how he got to the other side of the ice to cover the goal, but he did. And then there was that play on the shorthanded attempt that he just completely robbed that guy on a 2-on-1. So I don't think it was on him tonight. We just couldn't score. You can't only score 2 goals against the Vancouver Canucks. You're not going to beat them. Simple as that.
Yeah, you gotta love the former Hawks always owning us. Kevin Lankinen was very strong enough for them, and
Yeah, he looks
of course,
great.
Suter got like the last goal just to rub in their faces. Like every time you see a former Blackhawk like throw some money playing the Hawks, like throw a bet on them because you know they're gonna do something. It always happens. It's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Did you guys have any other thoughts on the Canucks? I thought, Elias Patterson is probably a larger discussion for another day, but that he just is not playing very well at all.
Yeah, it's funny. Even in their win today, I hardly noticed him. Like, did he even do anything? They get assists. That's it.
I didn't.
I think he scored in their last game finally, but yeah, he's been so quiet for them, and he's been playing on the second line. I think JT Miller and Besser are unreal together.
Quinn Hughes in the back end.
Yeah, but
Garland had a good game. Danton Heinen 2 goals. That's not something I would have predicted. Sherwood 2 assists, although one of them was kind of bullshit because of that offsides, but whatever. But yeah, it looks like the guys pretty much that you want to see show up for them showed up, and that's kind of the difference in this game when your stars show up in special teams. Yeah, and the refs.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be a team that wins a lot of games and has a lot of points during the regular season. I don't know if I'd say that I feel like they can really win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, no.
They've got the high-end talent. I think it's going to kind of come down to Thatcher Demko and obviously how the power play performs in the playoffs.
Yeah, because like Lincoln and Sheila, I was like, it's a good enough tandem for now, but it's not gonna. That's not gonna be sustainable, right?
No,
like, they definitely need Demko. Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely a playoff team, but I don't see it as a cup contender. No.
Yeah, it's just that division is just so damn weak.
That's what helps them. That's what helps them.
So yeah, they're gonna playing the Sharks in Anaheim and Calgary a few times a year is going to be pretty nice for the old point total.
For sure.
But yeah, I don't know if I have much more than that to say about them, to be honest with you.
Quinn Hughes is really good. I mean, obviously, but sky's blue, grass is green. Quinn Hughes is really good at hockey.
He's just so good at like quarterback in the park play. The way he like mans that point and just walks the blue line. It's just so beautiful to watch as a forward defenseman. Like it's just I can only dream of skating like that. It's just and he really makes that power play run. That's a big part of why they've been so good the last couple of years for sure. Yeah,
it's crazy how they skate like that. Like that is the one thing I think that separates the guys that play in the NHL from the guys that don't. Is for the most part the skating. And you can have so much skill, and that can take you really far. And having a head for the game helps a lot, especially when you're making up for it. But the skating has to be there for sure. But you watch some of these guys skate, and it's almost like they're more comfortable on skates than they are on feet. It's crazy. I don't know. Yeah, nothing.
No, I'm good. I don't really have much. It was a bad game.
Yeah, you guys are both pissed off, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to think
Hey,
clearly sometimes when I'm
we're
mad.
23 minutes. I don't.
If the chat was active, it seems like they're not really
We
active right
don't
now.
really
I
have
like to
any
answer
questions from
questions.
chat. I mean, we've got a show tomorrow morning.
We'll delve
It's
into it
tough.
more.
Everybody's, it was a tough game to watch.
Yeah,
I
we
think
got
tomorrow there's some more CHSN stuff to talk about.
oh yeah,
We can kind of go into the Richardson stuff a little more tomorrow.
we got Preds next on Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Another 2 days off then. What's up with that? It's like game 2 days off. Yeah.
Is there any hope in the chat? Yeah, you know what, man, Ian, I hope
Well, there
there
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's hope. No,
Yeah.
also, yeah, that's a good thing to mention. Artie
Just-
Party's back. That's good news. We're going to see Levchinov in Rockford. I think the next game's the 26th, and there's a good chance we'll see his debut. So the prospects are cooking right now. I mean, if you've been following college and, the juniors, like a lot of the Hawks prospects are looking good. Lardis has, 10 goals in 8 games, whatever. Like, there's a lot of help on the way, and a lot of that help isn't here on this team right now outside of Bedsy, Vlasic, Kershey, and Reichel. Like, there's really not much on this team that's, like, going to be here for the long haul. Let's be honest here. And Jones, because of his contract. But the Ice Dogs look good, and we have a lot. Most of our best talent isn't even here yet, so there's plenty of hope. I wouldn't look at this and be like too, down. I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, you shouldn't watch. You shouldn't watch the team this year and be like, oh no, like when the bad games are bad, and like tonight was a bad game.
Yeah,
it doesn't really bother. Like the only thing that I'm bummed about was just like, yeah, that was frustrating to watch. Like, I don't like watching my hockey team just not be good. But the thing is that this team is not tanking. We're not going to be in the bottom three, and we're not going to be in the playoffs. We know those two things, and I think we're right on schedule for that. Look, most of this roster that you're watching right now, and apparently going to be most of this year based on, Richardson's and Davidson's decisions on who starts and who doesn't start. Most of this roster is not going to be a part of this team in a year or two.
Yeah.
It's the guys in Rockford, it's the guys still in college, and it's the guys that we're going to draft and make moves for in the trade windows. And it's like Craig Smith is not going to be a part of this team. Pat Maroon's not going to be a part of this team. Mr. Agent 007 Ilya Mikheyev is going to be hopefully nowhere near hockey sticks in the city of Chicago. So I don't watch this game and think like, oh, the only thing is just like, yeah, Bedard not scoring. I want to see him score every game. But look, Reichel's looking better.
He is. He looked good today. He looked really good.
Reichel's looking better. We know what we have in Bedard. Teravainen and Bedard still look good together. They didn't convert tonight, but it's like, I don't think there's really any point of getting too down.
And here's the thing, like, this is like the most down and backward game this year, and it's still a 6-3 game. It's still 1-0, 2 goals. You get those back, you get those called right. It's like we're in that game, right? It's like this is the worst game so far this season. Last year, it's like this would have been like a blowout loss or something. Like even in our worst game so far, like this was a hockey game. We were in it. It was still competitive, right? So I think that's another positive. Like this is definitely a better team than last season. It's still not great, maybe not as good as some people would like, but it's clearly better. And it's like, so you're going to see more competitive, funner Hawks hockey this year, even though we're still tanking. It's like, which isn't a bad thing, by the way. I know people, it's patience is so important. I really think one more good draft, and I really think that's all we need, especially in this draft with so much good forward pieces. Like, it's not a bad thing for us, to be bottom 5 or wherever we're going to be, bottom 10. It's not bad.
Somebody in chat asked, what did we give up for Mikheyev?
Nothing. I think they got back a second-round pick for taking him.
Salary dump.
We gave up Sam Lafferty.
He signed in Buffalo.
Yeah, so it didn't even matter.
Was there a draft pick in
but,
there?
Yeah, we got a 2027 second round draft pick.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And then the other question that was asked was, do you guys think there's any chance Richardson goes bye-bye? So we
gotta wait till the end of the season.
Yeah, so I was watching the broadcast, and something that stuck out to me was they flashed over to Luke Richardson, and they showed his winning percentage over his tenure as a Blackhawks coach. It was about, from what I remember, I think it was like 371.
Oh, it's actually a little better than I thought.
I mean, he's yeah.
And then they showed his counterpart. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking.
Rick Tocchet.
Yeah, Rick Tocchet. Yeah, who has third season Vancouver Canucks head coach. And it was like the inverse. It was like 630.
That's
So
also
different
like
situations,
asking,
but still.
that's also like asking who made more money this year, Lee Grossman working at a restaurant or Warren Buffett. You know, it's like they've got two completely different benches. So, but nonetheless, it's not Richardson's record really that I hang my hat on.
How he's
It's a
matching the
decision
prospects,
like
the young players. He's not treating this
yeah,
like a rebuilding team. He's treating this like we should be like a playoff team this year. Which I get it. We're professionals. That's a mindset you got to have. But it's like you can't let that. You can't prioritize like these vets over the young players. You gotta let these guys play. You gotta let them make mistakes and grow. And there's hardly any those players on this team, and we're still scratching them and putting them in bad positions. So I think you gotta let guys like Reichel play. And that's what's frustrating me with Richardson. It's not. I like who he is as a person. As a coach, I like seeing him in the gym. He's a hard worker. I think he's got respect of the room and the players. I think he's a good coach for a team that's probably in a playoff spot. But not really a rebuilding team. I don't know. I'm not really sure he's the right coach for this team for the long term. I think we have to wait till the end of the season to really judge him. For people who think calling him to be fired, it's like way too early for that. I think we got to wait till we see at the end of the year. But I do have my questions of him. I'm not as confident Richardson as I was say a year ago. I'm not. I'd be why if Atlanta wasn't losing faith in him a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem that he's created in the first few games of this season, and it's a small sample size, but nonetheless, and I've brought this up before, there's no clear path to getting into this team, and it's not really clear what gets you in and out of the team. Like, or scratched or started, played on a higher line, buried on the fourth line. It's like Mikheyev's done absolutely nothing. It's not like he's like killing penalties like crazy and
how does he not get scratched
working hard in the dirty areas. He's not doing really anything. And then it's like Kurashev has one bad game, and you're trying to send a message to him like, dude, this is not you're not him. Like this team is not a contender where you're like, oh, we've got one of our star players struggling. I'm going to send a message to him and scratch him, and he's going to come back furious. It's like you're on a team that's ceiling is 76 points. Why are you trying to do that for like one of your best players?
Somebody, one of my followers, Hagels Bagels Instagram, he compared Richardson a lot with the way he's matching the Hawks young players to like last year Pascal Vincent in Columbus. And I don't know if you guys could see any similarities there, but that actually might be a decent comparison. I don't know, but I definitely see a bit of that with the way he handles guys like Reichel and Kurashev and just these young players. It's like doesn't really give him much of a leash compared to the veterans who just seem to get away with everything and get the benefit of the doubt over the young players who actually have a future here.
A little bit, maybe a little bit.
I think he's a better coach. I'm not comparing him to Vince. I'm just saying just how he kind of handles the young guys. But I do think Richardson's a good coach. I just don't know if he's the right coach for this team for the long term. I think he's okay for now, but beyond this season, honestly, I'm not really sure.
Really dark, guys. Jeez, really dark for a Tuesday night. Holy cow!
Why? How? What's dark?
We're trying to be realistic here.
We have to, and also, this is our job. We have to be critical of the coach. I know he's your boy, but the reality is he's probably not the guy for this team.
I told you the winning percentage caught me today. I was really thrown for a fit when I saw that one. I was like, holy cow. So
somebody in chat asked if we think that Davidson is face palming over these decisions.
Not the Turbo one, but I think other ones.
He's the one making them.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't think he is. I think he
expects
perfectly fine with keeping these guys in Rockford, which is fine. But it's like you're gonna get people frustrated because we want to see them play. And look, I'm not gonna pay Flow Grappling or Flow Hockey, a certain amount of money to watch fucking Ice Hogs games. I just don't have the time for it. So I want to see
Flow Hockey is worth it. Flow Hockey, let me put that
out. Yeah, it's not just HO, it's a lot of
hockey. Flow Hockey, I would love you to sponsor the show. Yeah.
Yeah. Flow Hockey sponsors the show. I'll be their number one Schmeat rider. But I literally had the thought tonight, like, wow, in the second period, I was like, wow, having Frank Nazar in this game would be.
He could absolutely be on this team. 100%.
That would be
awesome. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that Frank Nazar can't be playing on this Hawks team. But you know what would happen? Here's what would happen. Richardson be playing him in a fourth line checking role to be scratched every other game. So I think Davidson knows that. He's like, I'd rather see him, playing first line minutes in Rockford tearing it up than be trying to play this defensive system and totally change his game to fit Richardson's mold like he has with Reichel. So I think if he was playing second line with guys like Albertuzzi, he'd thrive, but I don't think that's what would happen with Richardson.
This team just feels so top heavy. It feels like we have no and it's not even about like point production. It's about creativity. Like the bottom two lines, like I know the first line has not scored in like the past 2 games, but it's like they play such a high percentage of the game, and it's like that's the only way. If we're gonna win, it's gonna be through those guys. We're not gonna win the game off of the back of the the bottom 2 lines.
It goes shook. When the first line doesn't show up, like we're screwed. We're not winning these games.
It's like
we're relying on it so much. Yeah.
There's no spark. There's no spark on that third line. Like it's like you're not going to win a hockey game because that line, and you're not using them as like a defensive shutdown line. You're just
like the top guys,
sending them out there saying eat minutes and try not to get screwed.
Get their cardio and exercise in.
Yeah. It's not a sustainable model for the season. And I think the way you change that is you add guys that can score and add creative ability and offensive talent. And it's like, so what if you get scored on? What are we doing here? We know we're not making the playoffs. All right. Let's go get, Martone or somebody.
All right. Any other thoughts? We can chew on this more tomorrow.
No.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah.
We got plenty more to talk about tomorrow. Crazy first period of the game. We can talk about the game more tomorrow too, but
I agree with you, Rager, by the way. Rager, number 1.
Yeah, he's always got the good takes. Yeah. He's always cooking.
I agree that Richardson's not the future of this team. Anyways,
yeah. Oh well. Everybody go like and subscribe to the Chicago Hockey Radio YouTube channel. We just broke 100 subscribers, so we thank everybody very much for their support there. And if you are listening to this, leave 5 stars, click follow on the podcast, leave a rating, review, comment, leave us a DM, shoot us a DM at Chicago Hockey Radio. We'll answer your podcast questions on Thursday. And we'll be back next game Friday, right? Nashville, we said?
Yep, Friday, Nashville, yep.
Cool. All right. We will see everybody then.
All right. Go Hawks. Adios.